Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Daniel Federico Show. JV Loop Week 2 just wrapped up. We have Vince Angelini coming on to recap the games, and he's going to announce his 3 stars of the week. Hey guys, welcome back to another Niagara Regional Minor football update. Back to back weeks, we got Vince Angelini on. Let's talk some football. Week 2 of the JV Loop just wrapped up, but also the travel teams. The Niagara General boys have finally hit the field. What do you got to talk about the Niagara General boys?
Yeah, man. Big opening weekend this week. Bantams 39-6 with a big win. So they're 1-0. So that's really good. They're looking really good. And the Pee-wees with a big this was a smashing 70-0 yesterday. So they're off to another great start. They're defending champs. So that's good for them. So really happy for both those teams.
The Niagara Generals, I used to coach 2 years with the Niagara Generals. It was an absolute blast. Great to see those boys doing it. Is Chris Lundy back coaching?
He's back. Yeah, yeah.
The
Yeah,
General,
the
baby.
godfather of football.
The Godfather of football. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's gonna be a good year for the Generals. I think every single level is gonna be pretty good this year. All the double A teams. I think there's only two
Yeah.
singles we have, like one for U14 and one for
Uh, U12. Yeah, I believe so. And a lot of these kids, so like a lot of these kids out of Bantam, you're gonna start hearing these names, coming up in the next year or so. So we've already kind of eyed a few of them. So that's going to be really good for football, in Niagara. Like I see them at the practices, and kids are going to Wellington Centennial, Notre Dame, Meyer, St. Mike's, St. Paul, and all these schools, and it's good. It's good to see. It's good for the schools, and it's good for football.
it's good for the talent in Niagara. Talent pool getting
Yeah,
better each year. I think it's football's been a revival. It was hard post COVID to get all these kids back playing. I think the last three, I would say, yeah, including this year. So the last 3 years, a lot more kids. Do you guys have an exact number who's playing the Generals this year? Like how many kids or
I don't know exactly. Um, it's got to be over like between all three of the bantams, peewees, and Adams. There's got to be like about 140 to 150 kids there.
that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Hmm.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's good for the Niagara General boys. They just debuted their brand new jerseys that I was seeing on Instagram today. They all gray.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of those, to be honest. Big fan. But I'm also a big fan of last year's jerseys that we wore, the black and the gold and
Hmm.
the white. That was nice. That was pretty nice, pretty good looking. But the Niagara General boys off to a hot start. Week 1. That's what we like to see. Hope they can bring it to week 2. Are any of the teams home next week?
Yes, I believe so. I believe they're at Kiwanis next week. I don't have the schedule, but I believe they are.
Back
Or
at
sorry, not
Kiwanis.
Kiwanis. I meant Collegiate. Sorry.
Oh, collegiate. Is Kiwanis
Yeah.
still like fixing their field? Because I know last year they're like
Uh,
with that's why we
Good
went.
question.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't
like
know that.
collegiate field is 10 out of 10. That is a
Hmm.
beautiful field. When we
Yeah.
coached on when we played on it last year, 10 out of 10 field. But let's go into something that just wrapped up week 2 of the JV loop, and I think it was a crazy success. We coached against each other this week.
Yes.
I
That
think
was
it
an awesome game.
Yeah, let's talk about that game first. Let's talk about the Welland versus Meyer. Meyer purple beats Welland. My boys 22-0. I think, but it was a very close game. I have to say it was a defensive battle. I have to say, minus what the scoreboard says. But how do you guys think how that game went?
Absolutely. So like I mean, even going in, as a coach, we didn't know what to expect. We knew from a talent, perspective, you guys had a lot of big names on your side. And we didn't know about the coaching, right? So this is your step up into high school, right? So we didn't know how you guys would mesh with the kids. We found out really quick because like I said, you said it was competitive. I think it was like 8-0 at the end of half. So it was tight. Like it was tight the whole game. So the score, you may look at it and say, "Oh, 22-0," but it was really tight. The play was again really tight. So So yeah, it was a great game. You guys did really well with those kids, and man, again, they were just smashing, right? So a lot of bangers on that team. I've seen a lot of them come up through the system through minor football. So you guys got a lot of bangers on that team.
Yeah, I think a lot of them left that game with their heads up. I think we played a pretty
Yeah,
complete game. I talked to a lot of them at the end of the game, and we have a group chat with all their captains, so we talk with their captains, and they were pretty positive on how the defense played, and a little, we got some stuff we got to fix up on the offense, but we could do that this week easily and get back and turn the page to G Fest. G Fest is gonna be another tough test,
yes,
but I think we have
yes,
we have the kids that and the players that can compete with I think any team. And
yeah,
now
100%.
we
Like, I
just
mean,
there you
yeah,
go.
your secondary, like I was, you're talking about your defense, like your secondary was pretty strong. Like, like Carter Smith with a pick,
Mhm.
and a few good sticks. Luke Harker, you know what I mean? So here's a kid, right? Here's a kid that, came up through generals, played receiver off the bat, right? Never really played anything else. There were a few exceptions. There were times where, because he's a strong kid, not scared. So we
Mhm.
throw him in situations, close game situations. At the end of the game, we would throw him in somewhere at, safety or halfback or corner, right, or even linebacker. Um, but he was telling me before the game how he's kind of transitioned over to playing corner, and I thought, what, like that's just such a great fit for him, like the physicality that he brings,
Mhm.
that no fear attitude. He's got that little chip on his shoulder. Great kid, and yeah, he did really well. He was breaking up a bunch of plays. Again, same with Carter, right?
Mhm.
Carter, if you guys were to walk away, to step away from coaching, for whatever, Carter could just jump in and fill in. Like he's very football savvy. He's another
Yeah.
kid, like, just football smarts.
Yeah, he's a great kid. I remember
Mm,
coaching not coaching him, but I remember seeing him when he was on the double A team 2 years ago with Lundy. Uh
yeah,
he's an athlete. We have a lot of guys that are just complete dogs, I have to say. Just complete
we
dogs.
do.
They just love to dominate. But Carter, I'm gonna give a shout out to Carter Smith. I did not expect that out of him. Heavy hits because he's not the biggest guy
Hmm.
in the field, but heavy
Nope.
hits, and he sees the ball. He sees the field amazingly. Like that safety position for him is 10 out of 10, perfect, and he's gonna excel at that spot.
He has the football IQ. That's why.
Hmm.
That's exactly why. So what he might lack in speed, he makes up with IQ, right? So he can
100%,
get to where he needs to be. Yep, 100%.
100%. Let's move on to the other games. How was the other games? G Fest versus West Niagara.
Yeah, I mean, again, so that was 20 to 28-8, that game finished
Mhm.
up, right?
Yeah,
Um, and I think, for the most part, I think GFS took it to him. And then West Niagara scored, I think, in the third, and then GFS scored again. Uh, but again, I think that there was a lot of drop passes there on the GFS side that should have been caught. Could have been The score could have been maybe a little bit higher than that. So kudos to them, but kudos to West Niagara for hanging in there.
I think West Niagara. They have a lot of I think great players. I just don't know their names
Mhm.
exactly because I just watched the
Yeah.
film. They have a lot of ballers on that team too. I think they're not gelling together just yet. But once they all
Hmm.
connect, that team is going to be a complete force. GFS, so
Hmm.
they're one of the best teams, better teams in this league with Meyer, with us, with St. Catherine's Red. St. Catherine's Red had a great game,
Hmm.
but we're going to get in that St. Catherine's matchup in a second. But now it's Niagara, when I was looking at their quarterback, they're running, they have a beast of a running back. But once they all gel together, they're going to be
Yeah.
perfect. It's just a matter
Yeah.
of
No, 100%. And I think too, like, it may take some time, and maybe by the time they gel, it becomes that bowl game, right? They
time.
gel at that bowl game, and they win that, right? So, but yeah, like you see, GFS is like one of the top teams, and they went undefeated last year, right? So in that year, that season, they went undefeated. So, they've got guys that can ball out. So
Yeah, 100%. Like Cam McCray. I'm pretty sure that's his name, the quarterback.
QB Cam,
Yeah, yeah, he is.
QB Cam.
I gotta say, that guy has wheels. He has complete
Hmm.
wheels on. He is a speedster. He can throw the ball too. It's gonna be tough
Yeah.
stuff for him and the GFS boys this week, I have to say, but we're determined to do it.
Yeah, you'll definitely have to contain him because if he can't find something, he'll scoot out and he's not afraid to run up the middle either. So yeah, you'll have to figure that out with somebody, whether it's a spy or however you do it. You know, he's gonna be a factor in the game for sure.
100%. I think it's like when I watch him, it's like this guy, man, he's just so fast. Like it makes even if
Hmm.
you put a spy on him, he's gonna beat him out. He's just with his legs. But even if you give him at least like 3 seconds in the pocket, like you don't think that's a lot. That's not a lot of time. But he gets it out the ball out quick. So
Yeah.
he's gonna be one of the bigger factors. And but that whole GFest team is just filled with ballers on the defensive side, at the receiver spot, at the running back position.
Hmm.
The GFAF, very good team. Excited to see them this week. That's going to be a great test for our defense too. Our defense just
Oh, for sure.
it's going to be a fantastic test. Like I think everything we got for these guys, they're going to get better no matter what our defense. If we could go out lose every single game, but I think these guys are with the talent we're playing against right now, they're going to go in
Yeah.
that fall game, that fall season, and they're going to become brand new players. I believe.
100%. Yeah, for sure, man. And speaking of that, you're talking about like, playing against them. That's my pick for game of the week next week. G-Fest versus Welland.
Let's
I'm
go.
telling you.
We
So,
made it.
yeah, man, that's the game. That's the game that people are going to want to watch because these guys all know each other. So, they're all going to talk. They're all going to talk before the game and, all the week leading up to the game. So, emotions are going to be high. So that's going to be a really good game.
It's going to be a
So,
very fun game. Now, they were already talking about it to us at the end of the game, and we talk in text messages and stuff, and they're just ready. They're ready. These are Notre
yeah.
Dame boys, are Welland boys. They're ready because, yeah, like you said, they're all friends. They all know each other. That's what you want. You want to play against your friends. You want to play the best of the best in Niagara, and that's what we're about to do this week. And so, yeah, so we are Vince's game of the week. The Welland JV Loop boys
100%.
against G Fest, 6:30 at G Fest 2 on Thursday. I'm pretty sure. I
Thursday
got
night. Yeah.
Thursday night game
Yeah.
of the week. But let's move to the All St. Catharines matchup. St.
Yeah.
Catharines Red versus St. Catharines Black. St. Catharines Red came out victorious.
Hmm.
Can't remember the score, but I know they came out victorious.
22 nothing.
22 nothing. Oh,
22
right. A lot
nothing.
of 22 nothing games that
Yeah.
night on the scoreboard. But
Yeah. And again, there's another game, right? Like, so the score not indicative completely of the play. Black stayed in it. First, again, I think it was 0-0 at the end of the first half. I'm almost sure. And again, it was tight. St. Catharines Red broke it open with a long run. I think it was like had to have been a 60-yard touchdown
yeah, they have
run.
a great
And
running game.
then yeah, and then yeah, from there they got a couple more scores and that was it, right? But tight all around. St. Catherine's Black. I don't know the kid's name. I think it's number 98. This kid, man, you throw the ball up there, that thing's coming down in his hands. He is just this guy's picking up everything out of the sky. I don't know his name. I got to figure it out. I'm gonna look at the roster, but yeah, this kid's picking up anything out of the sky. If it's in the air, he's grabbing it. So
That's what we like. That's what we like to hear. That was, yeah, we watched that game. Like me and the guys were watching that game before we started playing, before we had our game kick off. And both teams, well, first I'm gonna start with St. Catharines Red. Their running game is very strong. They have
mhm.
they've size and they've speed too. Like I remember they have the what's the little guy's names? We used to
The
coach them.
twins, the
Yeah,
Eberts.
the Himberts. Yeah, we used to call them. We called them the Himberts when we were coaching them because they were always
Okay,
making plays. We called them they're making great plays. So the Himberts, they um they were
Isaac
even
and
making
Abraham.
plays. Yeah, they were even making plays against the St. Catharines Black team. But St. Catharines Black, they even though they're right now they haven't won a game yet, but
Yeah.
those guys have a lot of promise too on their roster, 100% what I see. Their quarterback
Oh
too, they have
yeah.
a good quarterback. They have a lot of promise there, and I think as the season progresses, we're gonna see a lot of good bowl games. That's what I'm gonna say. At the end of the year, we're gonna see a
Yes.
lot of good bowl games.
Yeah, you got it. That's the other thing, right? I'm curious to see how it all shakes out in the standings. And who's playing where, how they're seated, and those matchups at the end, right? So that'll be pretty interesting.
Yeah,
So
it's gonna be pretty awesome. But let's move on to your three-player spotlight. Who's your three week two players of the week?
all right. So I got three guys, and I got some mentions, and maybe part of them I've already kind of mentioned. But my first guy is QB Cam
If you
again.
can.
So he was outstanding, and he probably would have had a couple more touchdown passes if they didn't drop a few of those passes. But on the flip side of that, so QB Can's my first star. But that West Niagara secondary, they were coming in strong, and they were knocking down a few of those passes. So kudos to them on that. But again, Cam was making some great plays.
100%.
Yeah.
Who's your second star of the week?
My second star of the week is number 10 from St. Catharines Red, Ethan Knight. So he had a touchdown pass. He had two conversions,
There we go.
passes for converts. You see him, you watch him in that game. He's just like, he managed the game really well. He slowed everything down, very calm. You know what I mean? If he had to get out of the pocket, didn't do anything crazy or anything like that. And yeah, yeah. So he's my second star of the week.
Yeah, 100%. We were watching that. He did look very poised.
Mhm.
That's a good thing. That's one of the best traits you could have as a quarterback, especially when it's such a close game. He slowed it all down. But who's your third
Yeah.
star?
My third star is we're gonna say it's the mayor of Niagara Falls, and it ain't Jim Giudotti, right? Joey Panessa, the mayor of
Joey.
Niagara Falls. Yeah, Meyer Purple, Joey Panessa. You saw him, 21, so he was making
Yeah.
tackles everywhere in the backfield.
Yeah, he was everywhere.
Um, he was everywhere. So, good kid. Um, doesn't mind getting his nose dirty. Gets right in there. Good in the coverage and really good against the run. So he makes things a little bit difficult for those running backs or those quarterbacks.
100%. So I'm gonna take two players right now. Then we're gonna go into your honorable mentions.
Yeah.
But right, I want to say two players. One on Meyer, I believe. I want to say I don't know his name. Number 40. I think it's
Hey, I mentioned him last
yeah,
week.
last week. Gabe Murray, right?
Remember the name, Gabe
Oh yeah,
Murray. There
Gabe
you
Murray.
go.
That's the name. Gabe Murray.
Two touchdowns.
Two touchdowns. The plays that he made against our secondary,
Yeah.
unbelievable. But now it's gonna be contradicting because I'm going to now a player that is on my squad, Carter
Yeah.
Smith. This
Yeah.
guy was all over the field. He was making plays. Those two going. I think if we see Meyer Purple in a bowl game or we see them one more time, that game is going to be all four quarters of just tightness again.
Yeah.
That's gonna be great. And the matchups too. And they were missing some players, Meyer Purple. They were missing some of their stars with Timo
Yeah.
Flag. But now let's
Yep.
see how it goes if we ever see them again this season head to head. I think our guys are going
Hmm.
to be up for the competition. I think they're going to be up for the competition, and it's just going to be a lot of fun. But Gabe Murray, Carter Smith, Gabe Murray, though, I want to say that connection he has with his quarterback, 10 out of 10.
Ezra. Yeah.
10 out of 10.
Absolutely.
Great connection.
Yeah.
Great players right there on that side for A.M. Meyer. And I'm very happy how Carter played too. But I've talked totally about that. But let's get into your honorable mentions.
Yeah. So again, for my honorables, again, that West Niagara secondary. So shout them out because again, they did a really good job against QB Cam, I thought. My second honorable mention, Raymer Eaton, St. Catharines Black. Guy's got a nose for the ball. He's always in on the tackles. Always in on the tackles. And my third one again, Carter Smith and Luke Harker. Right. So they
Yeah.
had great games. So yeah, shout out to those guys, all those guys there.
Yeah, 100%. I think it just shows how much talent is in this league, by the way, too. Like, I just want to shout that out for a second. And this JV loop, we have so much talent on both of the minor teams, on the Wilding team. I haven't
All the
seen,
teams.
haven't yeah, literally all teams, but I know for sure the St. Catharines Red team and West Niagara and G Fest. I haven't seen really much of St. Catharines Black yet, just what I've seen on film. They
Mhm.
have ballers for sure. I just wish I knew their names. But by the
Yeah.
end of the year, we're gonna get to know some of these kids' names off our bat, like off our head, and we are gonna remember it for the rest of the year. Because when it comes fall season, I got to say every single kid on every single team is gonna be a brand new player, and
Yeah.
they're gonna be lights out. The fall season is gonna be a lot more competitive, I think, for the high schools this year because of this league.
Yeah, I hope so too, right? And I said this last year, right? Again, we're a developmental league, so to speak, but don't be fooled. Don't think you're going to come in here and just start knocking guys around because you got to keep your head up, right? Because there's
Mhm.
guys in here that can just motor and can just bang, right? So
Yeah, a
yeah,
lot of
there's
high
there's some
motor
studs
guys,
out here.
a lot of high energy guys. It's been really fun to watch for the last.
Yeah,
Well, we've had these kids for 2 months now. It's been very good to see. And now getting to
yeah,
see them play last Thursday, well, this Thursday just passed. That was great. That was amazing. That
Well, I'm telling you now, we were talking about this, right? And you mentioned the Timo thing. So, that Timo tournament was this weekend, and now that's done. We talked to somebody who says they're coming out this week for you guys. If that happens, this changes. That just shifts everything.
yeah,
That is going to
shift it off.
shift everything that's out there right now. So you guys might just climb right straight to the top if that's going to happen.
Hmm.
So
I hope
I'm
that
not mentioning names yet. So let's hope that happens.
yeah, we won't mention names, but let's hope it does
It's like a
happen.
big signing, right? It's a big
Yeah.
signing alert.
It'll be earth-shattering, league-shattering news. It'll be breaking news.
Yes. Breaking news. TSN. Yeah, breaking news.
Yes, and breaking news if he sides with that. But I hope he does. That'd be pretty awesome. 'Cause that would literally complete us,
Oh
100%.
yeah, for sure. You'd
100%.
be a totally different team, right?
Yeah, one thousand
Like your
percent.
playbook would open up like drastically.
Drastically, right? You're right.
Yeah, yeah,
But I gotta say, what these people are seeing on film, like from Creative Road, did an excellent job again. What a guy! He's 10 out of 10
yeah,
too. Um, but people will see it from us this week. You guys against G Fest? What you saw against Meyer Purple, you're gonna see a totally, I say, not a totally completely different team, but you're gonna see a lot of guys that if you saw their little mistakes in the film, we're fixing that up instantly. We're going to practice on
yeah,
Tuesday, and we're just fixing that. We're fixing up all that mistakes. Those type of mistakes, I kind of get why they happen on the defensive side. Biting for balls a little too early is because they haven't played football since I want to say October, November.
yeah.
So they were just eager. They want to
It,
get the stats. They want to get the picks. That's going to be a big, big difference this week, 100% against G Fest.
yeah, no, for sure. And you know what? Again, like you look at it this way too. It was your first game of the season. Everybody's getting the nerves out. Everybody's getting everything out, and you're playing against a team that's already played, right? So they've already talked about what mistakes they needed to correct in their first game. So we worked on those things, and for the most part, we've corrected things, but we probably found more things that we need to correct. But again, you guys are going up against a team that's already played, so and I think that's part of it. So this week when you guys come out, I'm sure it'll be a different Welling team for sure.
Yeah, 100%. It's going to be, but it's also probably going to be a very big difference in a G Fest team too. After they're coming off highs, their first win of the year, they're coming off highs. It's going to
Yeah.
be, uh, I'm not going to be at that game that week because I'm actually working the Canada Football Chat Prospect game in
Okay.
Hamilton. But I can't wait to get the text messages from the coaching staff because that's what they're going to be doing all game long, probably texting me how it's going. And I can't wait to see the film after that game when it comes out Friday, day after the game. And Creative Fro, 10 out of 10 guy. Just got to shout him out a lot. I can't wait to see how it goes because that is going to be game of the week, 110%.
Yeah, and I mean, you guys will be. I'm sure if you haven't started already, looking at that, GFest game film and just breaking that down and figuring out what you guys need to do to stop QB Cam, right? And
Yeah.
that running back,
Yeah.
because again, that's the deadly combination,
Hmm.
right? Two guys is just kind of like, you know, I forget again. I apologize. I forget his name. But just the speed on him is just like he can break tackles, and it's just like you've got to be sound defensively
Yeah.
when you're playing against that. And again, with Cam too, right? Like you got to make sure you've got every option covered, right?
Right.
Because when he doesn't see one thing here or doesn't see something there on his next read, if he takes off of the ball, who's got him, right? So
Exactly.
that's the thing. That's the predicament you get into when you got a running quarterback like him, because he can basically take the ball and act like a running back.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. He's actually going to be fun to watch.
Hmm.
I've watched a lot of his film, even last year because everyone just posts a bunch of random highlight tapes that they make at the end of the year, and all the kids that I've coached in the past would post him, and I would watch his film. He's a blast to watch, honestly. So it's just gonna be
Yeah,
a lot. It's even though it's gonna be suck because you have to stop him, and it's gonna be hard to stop him. It's gonna be fun to watch him work too.
yeah, for sure. And I mean, even too, like offensively, you guys got a lot of weapons there. With I'm not sure who's number three on the running back on your team. I'm not sure who that was. What his
Uh,
name was?
Aiden.
Oh, Van Mill.
Yeah,
Okay, so again, complete breakaway speed. I've seen Van Mill run, and the guy's just a burner, like literally a burner. I'm not sure too many guys that are faster than Van Mill in the league. Maybe the kid from GFS, but I don't know. And I
mhm.
mean, in sunshine, right? So we
Yeah,
all know what he can do. So there you got, a 1-2 combination in the backfield, right? That can do damage. And your O line again, first game, first week, right? So there'll be some stuff to fix. But I saw them and I watched the film on them, and you got some guys that can move bodies for sure,
Yeah, we got we
right?
got we
So
got
I
bodies.
did notice that.
Yeah, we got size. I think we have one of the bigger lines, I'd say, like in the league. It's now more about once once the plays past them is now trying to move them upfield, trying to get them going. Because there was a lot of standing around. We didn't like that as coaches, but we're gonna fix that this week. Because
Hmm.
the hit so when we have such a strong running game with two running backs, we need to have them break out, hit the gaps, and also we need our line to and our receivers to hold blocks. So when he hits the secondary, it's a home run or it's
Yeah.
longer than a 5 yard gain. So yeah, there's just a bunch of little mistakes like that. First week issues it comes all the time. So I realized, and it was more things that we can work on too as coaches. That was our first time coaching 3 down ball because we've been coaching 4
Yeah.
down ball for 2 years. That was a
Completely different.
blast. Yeah, completely different game management and also calming down on the sidelines. We would get worked up a lot because the kids would get worked up a lot too. So it's now more
Hmm.
controlling our emotions, controlling the players' emotions, and just fixing things as coaches. We're learning too at the same time. As these kids are learning, we're learning how to coach the game and how to get better at it too. But we're lucky that I got to shout out Coach Randy from Stanford. 10 out of 10 guy. He's given us great insight literally every
Hmm.
single practice and even in the game. Coach Sam, our O-line coach, the 10 out of 10 jobs with the substitutions that he gave us, just everyone made a play instantly. When Coach Sam put a new D tackle in, made a play instantly. Edge rushers instantly. Even O lineman, he made a great play. And then Coach Chris, the loud guy, the loudest guy. You'll hear him from the parking lot, getting the boys fired up. It was good. We're learning too from those guys because we're younger. We're probably probably one of the youngest coaches in the league, I would say. Because I
Yeah.
haven't really seen it yet, but yeah, we're still learning. But we're lucky to have Coach Sam, Coach Chris, and Coach Randy to help us on the way.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, and I mean, what? Kudos to you guys, like that staff. And you guys are going to do well. The longer you go here, you guys are just going to keep getting better and better, right? And that's what it's about.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, but yeah,
Yeah.
Vince, we don't have much time. Anything else you want to talk about before we sign off?
No, man. I mean, let's have a good week of practice this week. Let's get ready for Thursday games, and then Thursday night classics, and
Thursday night
then
classics.
yeah, once we're done that, we're gonna go for our week 4 pick of the week. So, but
Let's
right
do
now,
it.
the pick of the week, G Fest and Welland. It's gonna be a
Let's go.
banger.
It's going to be a banger. Thursday night classics. Catch them all at G Fest. And who's playing at Meyer this week?
So we're working on something right now. So right now, the second game would at G Fest. There's a doubleheader at G Fest, and it's Meyer versus St. Catherine, Meyer White and St. Catherine's Red. But we're trying to move that game to Meyer, so the doubleheader will be at Meyer, and all the coaches can stay there. And then it would be Meyer Purple versus West Niagara at Meyer.
Banger.
So,
Thursday night classics. Heard the names, heard the games. Come out, support your local Niagara athletes because that's Thursday night classics in the JV loop. Vince, thank you for coming on. I appreciate it.
buddy, love it. Thank you.